This is Gang Green Blitz with your host, Joe Masseri.
All right, I am not your average Joe. I am Perry Sook in for Joe this week, but welcome to Gang Green Blitz. Guys, there's not even anything fun to talk about. It's the holiday season. I'm in a giving mood. I want to be positive and optimistic and bring joy to the world. And I've got nothing because the Jets got shucked. They got Tyler shucked all day long. It just made me so sad because you look for things. You look for an interim coach bump. You look for a backup quarterback bump. You look for any of these things, and none of those things happen. I am joined now by a very special guest, as we are every single week, New York Post Jets reporter Ryan Dunleavy. So, Ryan, where do we start with dissecting the mess of a game between two of the worst teams in this league? I don't think I'm going to get much argument to that the Saints and Jets are two of the worst teams in the league. And the Jets look so much worse than the Saints. Where do you start dissecting this?
Yeah, I think the Saints are actually headed in the right direction. Like, I think the Saints are actually what you want to be if you're the Giants or the Jets. Like, they're the team that has the young quarterback playing well. They've won, I think, 3 in a row. Shuck has won 4 out of 7 since he took over. They're the team that's building some momentum going into next year. And the Jets are the team that's pretending they're not tanking, but clearly playing the worst of their 3 quarterbacks and shutting down Garrett Wilson when, instead of making any effort to come back. And they're the team that is just kind of petering out their season. And it's that I don't know that that's the culture Aaron Glenn promised to set. So it does seem kind of why bother for the Jets at this point anymore? It does seem like they're almost playing for the draft pick. There's not a lot of talent running around the field, and that obviously started with the 2 big trades in October. So, yeah, man, it's the offense has a hard time scoring touchdowns again, and
right.
it just feels like they haven't made much progress. They've had blips or oh, look at that one-off. But the Jets haven't really made much progress since week 2.
No, at all. There's not anything you can point to. And then there's weird things, historically bad things. I mean, what 15 straight games without an interception. 15.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. I could catch an interception in 15 games if you threw the ball at me enough, and I have no hands. I was an offensive lineman. Speaking of, with that, we are going to take a listen because Quincy and Glenn had some comments about the D after the game. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what they had to say.
Like I said, the last 2 weeks we did have a chip on our shoulder about how we played and how we performed. So the biggest thing coming out today was more pride, and then what do you want to put on tape as far as the next 2 weeks, next 3 weeks, however long we have, but also setting the foundation for the team that's coming in for next year.
I hate the fact that we haven't got an interception, but the thing is, man, we got a turnover, and then we got a 4th down stop. So those things are something that we can build on, and our guys will continue to build on that. And I want the interception just like everybody else, but to me, if we can get a turnover, that's all I care about.
So a turnover, not an interception, but a turnover, and he's okay.
Why are we
celebrating
Why are we acting like one turnover is a lot? The Bears are plus 18 or something in turnovers. What are we talking about here? One turnover a game is not good. That's average. That's not something to sell. Oh, we got a turnover. Against your point, against the rookie quarterback. You should be able to force a rookie quarterback into multiple turnovers. Defense is your specialty, Aaron.
It reminds me of the podium where it's the guy and he's spraying the champagne and it's blah blah blah, and then it zooms out and it's third, and I'm Jets get one turnover. That's what it is, and I'm so why didn't it work? And then you go out and you get a new defensive coordinator. Or for interim purposes, and then give 29 points up to Now, granted, Shuck, I believe is now 4-3 or something. He's moving in the right direction. I mean, this kid, and I maintain if his name was easier to pronounce, he would have gone higher in the draft because you can't get pumped about a guy when it's Shug, but Shuck, and if it was literally SHUCK. I think the kid's a first-round talent. I think he comes out because he was getting buzz. He did great at the combine. But all that being said, you give up 29 points to this team. Some of them, I mean, some of the passes like to Olave in the middle of the what is the fix here on defense?
New players.
New players, I guess. So do you bring in a new? I mean, what do we think about our interim man, Chris Harris? Like, do we have anything we like from that, or is it all? Do you just start over?
So look, Aaron Glenn likes Chris Harris, and word around the NFL is he's at least going to be a co-favorite to be the full-time defensive coordinator next year. It'd be nice if they showed something under Chris Harris and the fan base and the rest of the organization could get excited about it. I get that he knows Glenn. I get that they're friendly. But it would be nice if there was tangible proof that he can do the job next year. Sometimes the in-house candidate isn't the obvious candidate, but I think Glenn, after working with Steve Wilkes, who he knew but had never worked with before, I think, and that didn't work. I think he's probably going to lean familiar. I would get uncomfortable again if I was him. I would bring in like a Wink Martindale, who's a turnover creating machine. I said that on the show last week. Like, he would be my top choice because he fills the gaps that the Jets don't have, which is, okay, we're not getting turnovers. I'm going to live and die with turnovers, and maybe I give up some big plays, but I'm also going to give my offense some short fields.
Yeah, well, and it is hard to evaluate. You get rid of some guys, obviously, and big pieces, who also Quinnen Williams, I think, has been doing well, but then you take Sauce Gardner out, and he hasn't been the same since Robert Saleh left, in my humble opinion. And so you need to rebuild that culture. You need to do that. Now, on the other side of the ball, obviously, Brady Cook is not the answer. He is not going to be the franchise quarterback. Did you see anything from him that made you think he could be QB2?
No. No. I mean, I think he could be QB3, but I think of I'll just go dip into my Giants. He's not as good as Tommy DeVito, and
Sure.
Tommy DeVito couldn't get a 1 or a 2 job anywhere this offseason. He's a quarterback 3 for the Patriots. The Giants bumped him. He was a free agent. The Giants bumped him from 1 on their depth chart when the offseason started to 4. They signed Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and drafted Jackson Dart. They thought he was a QB4. He's better than Brady Cook. Davis Webb, who's the quarterback's coach for the Broncos. I saw him as a quarterback 3 with the Giants for a couple years. He's better than Brady Cook. He was then. He might be now, even as a coach. So, no, I think he's your typical undrafted rookie 3rd quarterback. I mean, the Chiefs are starting somebody I can't even. Chris, talk about hard last names to pronounce. Chris Aluadon or something is the Chiefs' new quarterback now. So he might be better than him, but no, he's a quarterback 3 in the NFL. Tyrod Taylor's a free agent. The Jets probably need 2 new quarterbacks next year.
Right.
They probably need to clear the house of Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields.
Well, and now how important?
And let me say this, Perry.
Please.
Justin Fields should be starting. The idea, Glenn said this morning that Brady Cook starting again next week. Fine, I get it. He can't say they're tanking. He could say they're evaluating him or whatever. I don't know what they want. Tyrod's still not fully healthy. But let's not stop with the idea that Brady Cook gives you the best chance to win on Sunday, because anybody with 2 eyes knows that's not true. Tyrod Taylor gives you the best chance to win this Sunday, last Sunday, the first Sunday when he was sitting behind Justin Fields. If Tyrod Taylor's healthy, and his problem is he never stays healthy.
Right.
But if he's healthy, let's not humiliate Tyrod Taylor or yourselves with the idea that Brady Cook gives you a better chance to win than Tyrod Taylor.
Right, exactly. You aren't benching him for a chance to win. If you want to evaluate Brady Cook, okay, whatever, to figure out if maybe he's your QB2, or definitely, or even if you want to keep him around for QB3, but he's definitely, I would agree, not the chance to win. So that's not the only problem on the offense, unfortunately, though. The run game unable to get started at all. But Breece Hall, I loved watching him at Iowa State. I was so excited when they drafted him, and things just kind of haven't worked out at all this year. Is this just, do we watch this year, or do we have to decipher each and every one of these problems?
Yeah, it's been a strange year for him. It's really been a strange career for him because, like, he has some moments where you're just like, oh my God, this guy's a top 3 to 5 running back in the NFL. And then he just goes into these lulls, and it feels like the games that are bad games pile up. They all come consecutively. Like, it was only however many weeks ago that he was a monster in a win against the Browns. He single-handedly led the Jets to a win against the Browns. And then now the last 4 games, he's gone back to yesterday at 3.4 yards per carry. It's been a quiet 4 games, I think, for him. Look, we all know this about running backs. It goes, the special ones can make a bad situation tolerable and a tolerable situation good and a good situation great. They're not going to take a bad situation and make it great. And so the Jets' offensive line right now is banged up, and the Jets don't have Garrett Wilson.
Right.
And they're trying to make the best with Adonai Mitchell and John Mechie. They've been nice finds by Darren Muji in the middle of the season. But any defensive coordinator worth his salt is building an entire game plan around shutting down Breece Hall, both as a pass catcher and as a rusher.
Yeah,
so
you load up the box and you can't do anything.
Yeah, he's a one-man band, so I'm going to have a hard time here's what I think about Breece Hall. It reminds me of Saquon on the bad Giants teams. He's probably going to be bad for as long as the Jets are bad, and as the Jets were silly enough to let Breece Hall go, and Breece Hall signed with the Chiefs, he'd probably rush for 1,800 yards next year.
I could see it. Breece had some thoughts of his own, so we are going to listen to what Breece Hall had to say about the run game, and then go to break, when we'll catch you when we return on the Gang Green Blitz.
You have a rookie quarterback playing, like, what else are you going to do other than stop the run and, make him throw it on second and long, third down, whatever the case may be. But that's why, I got to, put more pressure on myself and other guys in the offense who are in their second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth year to, make sure we're super efficient so we make the game as easy as possible on him so he can still be confident. I feel like we're decently efficient for the most part in the run game, but then, we get a penalty on second down or third and medium, third and short, and, the drive is, with the way they're playing defense, the drive was, almost feel like impossible sometimes. But, I felt like we were getting what we wanted for the most part.
Welcome back to Gang Green Blitz.
All right, we are green and a little red too. Red and green. It is Christmas season, and we are getting ready because the season's not over yet, guys. I know however long you want it to go. Well, it's still going on. 2 more weeks, Patriots and the Bills, death taxes, and playing those teams to end the season. Let's welcome back in Ryan Dunleavy from the New York Post. So, Ryan, Patriots still with a lot on the playing field. They want to lock up the division. They are still technically in the hunt for the wild card. Is there any chance that the Jets play spoiler here and make the Patriots have a terrible day?
It's actually funny. Like, the Jets are going to have a pretty big impact on who wins the AFC East because they go Patriots, Bills. If they somehow won either game, that would probably cost that team the division. Don't see it. Not going to lie. Don't see them giving either team much of a hard time. But for the Jet fan, I mean, what an end to the season that would be. Like, if you somehow were able to beat one of these teams, then you feel better about the way the season ended, especially if, like you said, a piece like a Breece Hall or somebody like that, a piece of the team going forward, get something going. Now, the defense, Chris Harris, you could actually build something. If Chris Harris's defense gave, Drake May a hard time, you could feel good about that. We've seen seasons end like that before, where like the Giants beat the Cowboys or the Eagles. They had something good to feel about all offseason. It ends up being fool's gold more often than not, but you could at least see it. No, I can't see the Jets doing it, but and I don't even know. Look, the players want to do it. The fans have a catch-22 there, Perry, right? Because like they want to win to play spoiler for their hated rival teams, but they're now up to 4 in the draft order.
Exactly. I would love to take a legitimate poll of Jets fans and say, hey, if you could keep New England, the New England Patriots, who just did the rebuild you guys have been trying to do for years in 2 seasons, from being the 1 seed in the ASC and from winning the division, but you move down the draft order, would you take it? And I'd love to know, because they are at 4 right now. And so here is the question. What do you do? Because you are very, very dependent on the Raiders and Giants game, because the Raiders need a quarterback. And if the Raiders lose that game and the Raiders take Fernando Mendoza, well, then all of a sudden you don't have your quarterback that you probably want. Who did? I talked to him at the Heisman. He had very nice things to say about Aaron Glenn. He had very nice things to say about everyone. He might be the nicest man in the universe. But he did have very nice things to say about Glenn and the organization. So you are the biggest Raider fans in the world cheering against your Giants. What do you – I mean, is that the best case scenario? You trade with the Giants, you shake hands across the aisle, and you go get Mendoza with the number 1 pick?
Yeah, that's the best case scenario. Now you got to hope whoever's running the Giants at that time isn't super petty and like worried about like the tabloids, like and the TV shows like you, and the idea that like, oh, the Giants handed their franchise quarterback to the Jets. Like, can't worry about that stuff at all. Like, if you're the Giants, you feel like you have your franchise quarterback. If you help the Jets get their franchise quarterback, hey, that's just being a good neighbor. And like, you get your picks, and if you're the Giants, you get, Jordan Tyson to play receiver at 4 from the Jets, and then you get a corner to start at 18, and then you get another pick in the second round. You could add a linebacker, and then all of a sudden your talent base looks better. Yes, the best case scenario for the Jets is a Jets-Giants trade up to the number 1 pick. And for the Jets, honestly, not to fall that much further, there's 4 teams, I think, tied with 3 wins each, Perry. So, like, if you're the Jets, you could actually fall to 7 or 8 if you win one of these games.
Exactly. If you play the ultimate spoiler, all of a sudden you're out of the top 10. It's crazy.
Yeah, now you're giving up like 3 first-round picks. So you kind of want to stay you want the Giants to be 1, and you want to stay in the top 5, so the price is at least reasonable.
So besides getting that quarterback, hopefully being able to get Mendoza, actually, but before I move on from that, is Dante Moore a close 2?
Good question.
And because I don't feel that way in my personal assessment. I like Mendoza. I don't like Mendoza as much as I've liked other guys coming out, but I definitely do have him as my 1 this year. But then I've got a pretty big space bar before I get to Dante Moore, and Dante Moore is my 2. How do you feel on the situation?
I always feel like this. My opinion doesn't really matter right now. It just, the scouts I talk to, the handful of scouts or executives or people who have watched a lot more college football than I have at this point, and their feeling is Mendoza is the clear 1. Moore and Ty Simpson from Alabama are 2, 3 in either order. There is a significant drop off, but not say as big a drop off as so Cam Ward was 1 last year. The Giants took Jackson Dart, I think 25. So the expectation is it's not that big. Like Simpson and Dante Moore would be top 10-ish caliber picks. And once you say a quarterback's a top 10 caliber pick, then he kind of gets pushed up into the top 5.
Sure, exactly. For need base.
You go back to the Burrow draft where Burrow was 1, Tua was 5, and Herbert was 6, I think. Like it could be something like that where you have 3 top 6. But I do think you're going to find as you get closer to it that it's almost nearly unanimous for Mendoza over the other 2. And then the other 2, we got to see if either one even comes out, because neither one has a ton of college starts.
Oh, exactly. Well, and Alabama, we got to see. Obviously, they're advancing in the college football playoff. They'll go head-to-head, Mendoza and Simpson. And so that should be quite enjoyable to see in the Rose Bowl coming up. So it's the holiday season. If you don't, let's say quarterback gets taken care of, however many picks. What's the rest of your holiday wish list for the New York Jets?
It has to start with receiver, I think. Besides Garrett Wilson, you need another playmaking receiver. maybe a slot receiver if I want to believe that Adonai Mitchell can be the other outside receiver, maybe a slot, maybe a Wan'Dale Robinson. What else do I need if I'm the Jets? A guard, a good solid guard. I mean, John Simpson, Joe Tittman. It's nice. They need to upgrade that position, and Elijah Vera Tucker's a free agent, right? So the secondary needs an injection. I mean, we're talking about 15 straight games without an interception. They need more playmakers in the second. Brandon Stevens has actually had a nice year as a corner. He's much better suited as a corner 2 than a corner 1. Probably a safety. Like that secondary, there's a reason that they've gone 15 straight games
without a pick. Exactly.
They need some ball hawks back there. Absolutely.
Are you at all worried about a Breece Hall moving away from the Jets for more asset build?
Well, I mean, they are in charge of that, right? They can franchise tag Breece Hall, so they get to decide. Like, so I'm not worried about it because it's my choice if I'm them, and I would not. I would keep Breece Hall. I would franchise tag Breece Hall. Work towards a long-term deal. See how reasonable he is. He said something to me earlier this year after Kyron Williams and James Cook signed their contracts about like, well, they've done more than I have. So he sounded pretty reasonable about it at that point. So if he's not looking for the $13 million a year, if he's willing to take 10, maybe see if you can get something done. If not, you franchise tag him for a year and see what you have. I would not let an asset like Breece Hall walk out the door for nothing. I think the Giants, if they could redo Saquon Barkley leaving for nothing, would redo it 100 out of 100 times.
Well, especially when you just made that laundry list of needs. You know, I'm not sure Santa's Workshop can get all of that done in time for next season.
My 7-year-old has a Christmas list this long, and the Jets Christmas list like that.
Even longer. What I do want to talk for just 1 second real quick. When you see Shuck, a guy who went so late, who came out and might be the quarterback of the future for that team. When you see Drake May, who could have been playing for either of these teams had some games ended differently at the end of seasons, are we cursed? Are we just cursed a little bit?
It certainly feels like that at some points for the Jets. Look, the Shuck thing does give the Jets hope that it doesn't have to be Mendoza or a first-round pick or bust. Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl last year. He was a second-round pick. Shuck looks good. I asked Aaron Glenn on Friday when I was there about that. He said, yes, you can get – it's about who fits your system. It's not about where you get them. It's about who fits your system, your characteristics. So maybe it's Garrett Nussmeier in the second round. Or maybe it's, Carson Beck, who used to be considered a first-round pick, and now he's not considered that anymore for Miami. Maybe he rediscovers himself. It doesn't have to be a first-round pick. I know Jets fans are tired of taking flyers on Christian Hackenbergs and Bryce Petty's and second-round Geno Smiths and stuff. But the first-round picks haven't worked out any better for the Jets either. So I say build up the roster. Make sure you have the right offensive coordinator. That's a big thing for the offseason is decide if Tanner Engstrand's your guy and then move forward with a more talented roster before you put it all on the quarterback.
Exactly, and so much of it is out of your hands because you got to see who ends up with that one pick, and if it's not someone willing to play ball, whether they need a quarterback or don't, then you're out of it. But hopefully they are. It should be the season of giving. Ryan, this is the season of giving. Let's give some optimism. You have so many draft picks. Some of them got to work out, right?
The Jets fan, here's the optimism. The Jets fan should do their whatever they have to do on Sunday during the Jets game. Skip the Jets game and then tune into the Giants-Raiders game like that's their Super Bowl. That's the optimism.
Exactly.
This way, they're not as emotionally invested, but at the same time, it means a lot to them.
Exactly. Lock in, and if you lose, you're not heartbroken. You're just enjoying some good football. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining me on this holiday week, and thank each and every one of you for tuning in during the holidays. I know it has been a season you don't want to remember, but this is the season of giving. This is the season of loving. So love your team, love the game of football, even when the results just aren't there. And we will see you with hopefully much more to cheer about in the new year on Gang Green Blitz.